The players, having acquired papers of entrance to the Empire, now set out once again with the assistance of the crew of the Heronic Order of the Flend. On transit, we actually have a random encounter, because I learned how to do those. I already had the charts worked out, but I didn't have all the encounters ready, so I wasn't ready to actually do them. But instead, I rolled encounters before the game to see what they'd come up randomly, and then worked out those encounters just based on that. That way I have the information when I need it, but I don't have to worry about being ready right on the spot, because improving entire encounters is difficult. The players first encounter randomly a clothing merchant. They find this fortuitous, and I promise you it was random. Everyone except for Fryn, who's already acquired a secondary costume, raise themselves to look like subservient members to Fryn's Sith Lord guys. With that completed, the party sets out and takes a long back road into the Empire. Right as they're getting ready to come through the end of Phlogiston into the Empire space, they encounter their second random encounter, which are just some space sea urchins. Not really interesting. I give the players a little tip on how to deal with them, and plan to test them later on that matter. Because it can really do some damage to the people on the ship if they mess with it, but as long as they don't touch it, they're going to be okay. The players accept that for now, but if they forget, it could be quite interesting. So, reaching the border, the Flend give their papers over to the Empire, and the ship is cleared to pass on to the planet Zeus, the capital of the Empire, to go to the political meeting, the announcement of war. Once landed, the players sneak off the ship, then proudly present themselves, well, Fryn proudly, everyone else staggeredly, as they enter the place where this huge speech is going to be held, referred to as the Citadel of Meeting. On the way in, Vincent, the player's guide, grabs a tourist map of the place so that the players can be guided in their side ventures. After getting settled in and craning their necks up to a massive height to watch the Emperor on his stand, the Emperor, comes out along with his head honchos, who I'll give the players a picture of, just enough to get them interested, but not enough to really answer their questions. So, they're definitely curious about who that Death Knight is, and there's a chick with wings they didn't recognize, and then a dude with some kind of animal in his head. They were definitely curious on the matter. So the Emperor will begin his speech, which I have over here, and I'm going to grab it now. There we go. Pardon the cinematics if you're not into that. We sought to bring order to more of the universe, but this order was ignored, nay, defied by the Alliance. They told us, if you attempt to advance, we will be forced to stop you. What are we to do, my people? Are we to back down and allow the chaos of GAPE? GAPE is Galactic Alliance for Interstellar Peace. It's an abbreviation. So, allow the chaos of GAPE to proliferate the spheres. They say that we may not advance, yet they claim the planet Hell, known by the Jedis as the planet Hoth, as their own, though it was not theirs in the past. To answer my question, I say no. We should not sit idly by, as they spread chaos unchecked. We must counter them. In doing so, we will enhance the lives of the people of our spheres and of the other spheres. No longer will food shortages plague us, nor will there be a lack of simple needs, wood, ore, and stone for building. They will all be made readily available to us. my advisors here, will be the driving force that brings about a new era. With the power to harness machines, animals, magical constructs, and our own fighting prowess, we will be able to rise as the Force intended us to. In the next month, we will strike against the chaos of the Alliance and bring order and betterment to all the crystal spheres, for order and unification. The party's looking up in the night. Is anybody really buying this crap? Then everyone around them starts cheering. Thon, who can't communicate with other people because his voice is on a different frequency, begins hearing cheers from people of his own race, welcoming the order and control of the Empire as it spreads out. Next coming onto the stage after the Emperor steps to the side is a fairly droning man, giving facts and figures, explaining why the Empire is so superior to the Alliance and why they will have no problem bringing order to the universe. Vincent advises the younger Jedi to seek out information they can and then sneak back here when complete. They agree, not wishing to fall asleep during the droning speech. At first they set off, as according to the map, to the animal holding cells. After sneaking cat and mouse kind of game through the garden, they reach the animal holding cell and talk to a druid there. The druid hasn't turned around yet, and, believing them to be someone else, talked to them quite plain terms. She told them a fair bit of information they didn't know, and they took notes on it. And, despite my intentions, avoided a combat. I had truly expected them to ruffle her feathers and then get into a fight against her and her animal companions, but my players can be surprisingly charismatic sometimes, and thus avoided the combat. Noticing that the droning speech was about to reach its conclusion, they decided to quickly make their way back to the Citadel of Meeting. As soon as they passed through the door from the holding cells into the garden, a voice struck all of their minds. It informed them that they were indeed out of time, but they could have more time if they needed it. This being offered to use its power to allow them to go to another place and search, basically rewinding the time for them. And they would still have the information they had gained from the last place, but not be hindered in time restraint. The players were very weary of this, since a powerful being offering its services to you is usually not a good thing. But the voice informed them that, for this time, our objectives align. So the players accepted that, and since they weren't being asked to offer anything back, got rewind in time a little bit, and went to the next closest location, the Slime Tower. The players investigated, found it to be just normal living spaces, and floating down the hall was a lamp supported in the middle of the air. Thon went to investigate, and upon getting within 6 feet of that light source, found his arm being eaten by some kind of cube-like monster. After a slight freak out and a little bit of applause for being able to actually include a gelatinous cube in a campaign with reasonable usage, the players killed it and moved on to the next floor, which proved similar and notably uninteresting comparatively. The third floor showed the labs of this location. On one side of the lab were a row of bees and ants and other hive insects. On the other were 5 containers that were supposed to be holding oozes. 3 were still present, but 2 of them had escaped their containment. The green slime and... I can't remember right off. It was... Grab my notes. Here we go. Laboratories. Yellow slime. One being a paralytic poison, and the other that changes you into its own form after a time. The players contended with him, but not terribly well. In the combat, Fryn, using his magical sword that always appears in his hand, had a serious problem that his sword dissolved when striking the green slime. Thon, not wishing to use any of his spells because he always only brought fairly heavy-handed ones, started searching through the notes on anything that could help them. They found that, as according to the monster manual, at least in 2nd ed, when a green slime contacts a... Is it an ochre jelly? I already forgot what I said. Olive slime. The 2 dissolve one another. Hearing this, the party's new member, Klik Thri-Kreen, grabs up the slime in his hands, taking the burning acid damage of it, and smashes it on top of the olive jelly. Slime, whatever it is. The 2 dissolve in a steamy puff, and Klik's hands burn a little bit from the acid. The party take what notes they can, and before leaving, are again offered to go back in time. That, however, ended our session, and kind of left it unfulfilled, but it gets better when we get back, I hope. So, recording that soon. Bye.